Hello and kia ora, I'm Philip Duncan. Thanks for joining us for our Thursday update for April the 27th. A massive area of high pressure is about to move in and across New Zealand, and then afterwards a subtropical low. So the weather in New Zealand, while we've got a couple of colder nights still on the way, warmer weather is definitely on its way for both main islands. And over in Australia, classic autumn weather, the ups and downs carry on. So let's have a look at the animated wind map today showing where the air pressure is. So the brighter it is, the higher the air pressure. So there's a huge amount of air pressure, high air pressure that is parked over the Tasman Sea and New Zealand for Thursday and Friday and Saturday, and even a little bit further into the start of next week. This is the culprit in the subtropics or the tropics that we're keeping an eye on as it drops southwards over the next few days, and it's going to bring in a few showers to eastern Australia and to the top of the North Island. Meanwhile, the south of Australia, classic autumn weather, low pressure down there, and a couple of cold fronts with the windy westerlies that we get at this time of the year. So let's have a look at the setup for Friday. Look at all those windy westerlies blowing into the southern and eastern or southeastern parts of Australia. Pretty blustery, especially between Melbourne and Tasmania through Bass Strait. Pretty windy through that area, gale force winds. Not a lot of rain coming through there for you though. On the New Zealand side, mostly settled and dry after a cold night, frosts in sheltered areas inland, and a couple of showers though still around the very north and northeast as this low gets deeper and tracks further to the south, and as the high moves further out to the east. So by the time we go into the weekend, the high is actually parked over the top of the Chatham Islands. 1030 hectopascals, a little bit of a glitch there, but 1030 is what it is. So that's a pretty strong high. And to the northwest, there is that low, and it's fairly average. It's not really big, it's not really small. It's just coming through, and it's going to bump up those northeasterly winds, so they'll become windier as we go through Saturday. And at the same time, over here in New South Wales, up comes a cold front, maybe a few thunderstorms with that as it moves in towards Sydney. On Sunday, around Sydney, low pressure starts to deepen, and then the other low coming out of the tropical area starts to move into northern New Zealand, although it doesn't really get a lot closer than what you see there. That's because the high, parked out here over the Chathams, pretty strong and getting a little bit stronger, 1032. So it kind of pushes back. When the number in the high goes up, the high pressure zone sort of breathes out, expands. And what that does is, even if it's moving away from us, if it breathes out, it feels like, for us in New Zealand, like there's no change. And it keeps that low pressure zone offshore. So northeasterly winds carrying on, but not a great deal of change. Now, once we get into next week, that's when the high shrinks just enough in its size, not really the power, but just enough on the western side to allow that low to move in. But now you've got tropical or subtropical northerlies coming out from Tonga and the Cook Islands, and that's drifting down across both islands. So it's certainly going to be warmer than average next week in the New Zealand area. And our final map for Tuesday next week shows, again, subtropical airflow right down and across the entire country. So the overnight lows next week, double digits in many places, not a great deal of frosty weather on the horizon once we get through the next couple of days. So this is certainly a warmer than average setup, and it's just the way things are at the moment. We don't have La Nina, we don't have El Nino, we're in a neutral zone, which means our weather is chaotic, and at the moment it's leaning still a little bit more towards the warmer side of wind rather than the colder side coming out of the Southern Ocean. That's all from me for today. Back again on Friday with our next update as we head into the weekend. We'll see you then.